Yo, FCA, what's up? Isaiah here, week 2 of our God Is series. I'm excited to be with you. Last week, we talked about how God is faithful. This week, I want to talk to you about how God is loving. Now, in the Bible, in 1 John chapter 4, verse 8, there's a beautiful verse I want to read to you. It says, whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. One more time. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. Now, you and I, if we were to have a conversation, in the first few minutes of that conversation, matter of fact, after we left that first conversation, I'd be able to pick up some things about you that identify you for being who you are. There would be some things about me that I would identify me as being who I am. And when we look at God, it's kind of the same thing. Like, there's some things that when we look at who God is, there's some things we can point out that identify, oh, that's God. And love is one of those things. God is loving. Like the Bible says, he is love. He doesn't just have love. He doesn't just express love, though he does. He is love. He's the highest fulfillment, the highest image, the highest illustration, the highest example, whatever word you want to put. He's the highest level of that, because it's who he is. It's exactly who he is. And so and when I read that, when I examine that, there are three things that kind of stick out. Number one, if God's love, and if I call myself a Christ follower, if I follow Christ, if God's love, then number one, I can love others. Man, one of the things that hurts me the most is seeing people of different skin colors, of different backgrounds, of different races, of maybe it's male and female. When people are discriminated against or looked unequally upon because of something that they really can't even control, I don't like that, man. That hurts my heart to see that. And I believe it hurts God's heart, but because here's the reality, if you follow Christ, there should be an amount of love that you have for everyone. So if I call myself a Christ follower and I know that God is love, like we just read, that means I can love others, regardless of their background, regardless of their color or their class, how much money they have, anything like that. I can love others. I can accept them for who they are. And I feel like when we do that, we're looking so much like Christ. When we do that, man, we really embody who Christ is, and to us as believers, when we love everybody. So number one, I can love others, but number two, I can love myself. It's amazing to me as a youth pastor how many students I talk to, when they look in the mirror every single morning, they don't like the person that they see. All they see is maybe past regrets or faults and failures and sins, things they've dealt with that have maybe hurt themselves and maybe hurt others around them, that have caused some heavy and significant circumstances in their life. But here's the deal. If we love God, number one, we can love others, but number two, we can love ourselves. Man, I think it's a mark of spiritual maturity when we look at ourselves and we're happy with the person that we see. I'm not saying that we're happy with every single decision, but what I'm saying is those decisions that we don't like, they don't have a hold on us, because God's love so envelops us that we can look at ourselves and we can say, you know what the Bible said in Ephesians is so true. I am the workmanship of God. I'm his masterpiece. In other words, I'm God's divine poetry. If God was writing a poem from his very own hands, it's like I am that. That's who I am. Like God cared so much about me. The Bible calls me his masterpiece. God doesn't make mistakes. God doesn't mess up. And so when he created all of us, even with our stuff that we bring to the table, we know this. We know that he loves us, and we know that we are his workmanship. We are his handiwork. We are his masterpiece. That's a beautiful thing. So if God's love and I follow him, then number one, I can love others. Number two, I can love myself with a beautiful type of love. But then number three, I can love him. I can love God back. I have the capacity to return my love to him. All of us, I'm praying that you're in a relationship with God. And so much of our relationship with the Lord is he gives to us. And he does. He's an amazing God. We know this about God. He loves to give to us, his children. He loves to give to us. But here's the thing. We can also give back our love to him. Now, how does this look? This is like our day-to-day actions. Like the things that we do day to day show him how much we love him. So I want you to take a moment and just examine maybe even the last 24 hours of your life. If God were to put on display for the world to see the last 24 hours of your life, what would we learn about you? Would we see God's love in you? Would we see that you love others? Would we see that you love yourself? Would we see that you love God? It's a good question to ask ourselves. And maybe for you, you're like, man, I don't know. Probably not. That's all right. Like, I'm not asking this to condemn you or to make you feel guilty. I'm just saying that we should live with this type of mindset that just says, man, every moment I have is special. Every moment that I have is important. It's valuable. And so people should always see God's love in me. If God is love and I follow him, I can love others, I can love myself, and I can love him. Man, I want you to know, I want you to be encouraged. God loves you so much. There's nothing that you can do to bring down his love for you. It's at the highest level it could ever be. And you could never do anything to take that away. That's encouraging. That makes me want to live up to all that God has for me. I hope it does the same for you. And listen, I hope our time together today really helped encourage and inspire you. God bless you. I'm going to see you next week, week 3. God is.